Hello everybody, welcome to my channel today and welcome to today's episode. Today is April 13th, 2025 and it is a Sunday, Sunday before Easter / Resurrection Day. So welcome to my channel. If it's your first time visiting, my name is Donna and this is Fancy Fiber Forum, where we love fancy fiber here, as you can tell. On this channel, we talk about yarn, because I love yarn, and we talk about crochet. And we may be getting into some knitting, depending on where this journey takes me. And that will be part of today's episode, talking about a little bit of knitting. I hope everybody is doing well. If you are a returning family member, Fancy Fiber family member, welcome. I appreciate you all, and I love each and every one of you that continue to come back and watch and leave comments and all that stuff. So I really am having a good time with this channel. I know I don't record a lot of videos because there's not always a lot to talk about. And I don't want to just take up your day for nothing. Goober must be seeing something outside. Don't know what. Well, the weather's nice, and it's Sunday, so people are probably out in the street. Anyway, today's video, I'll be sharing some finished objects. I'll be sharing some whips, and I'll be sharing a little bit of Happy Mail that I received yesterday. I've already opened it and put everything away, but I will show you the main focus of that Happy Mail sitting right here in front of me. So, like I said, I hope everybody's doing well and gearing up for Easter next weekend. And just remember, God loves you. He sent his son to live on this earth as a human, going through, a lot of the same things that we humans do, only to die on a cross, shed his blood, so that those who believe will have everlasting life in heaven with Jesus our Savior and God the Creator. So I hope you believe in all that. If you don't, you might think about finding somebody who does, and maybe they'll lead you to the cross. Anyway, I don't think I've shared these finished objects before. If I have, I apologize for showing them again. But there for about a week, I was on a bucket hat kick. And I think I've made 6 in total. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bucket hats. Okay. And I have to thank Bernadine over at How the Hook Turns for introducing me to this pattern from Jada and Stitches. I've made bucket hats before, but I didn't really like how they turned out. The brim just, I don't know, didn't seem flattering, so I didn't pursue that anymore. Well, there's a whole lot of bucket hat patterns, different styles, different stitches, and I think the granny stitch suits this pattern very, very well. So I'll start with the very first one I made, which I actually made with a wool yarn that I dyed. Um, I don't know if it's very suitable for summertime, but here's the first one that I made. And like I said, this was with some yarn that I dyed. Um, the top is the darkest, and this was the outer part of the ball. And let me tell you how I dyed this, because I shared this on uh, one of VJ's FO Fridays, I think. And I shared it on a Whip Wednesday too, as I was working on it. And how this is done is you take a ball of yarn and you dye it in the ball. And so what happens is the outer part of that ball soaks up the dye, right? And the inner part, it's more like an ombre as it gets to the center. Well, once that is done and dry, or partially dry in my case, you then reball it up so that the outside is now on the inside. So in the case of this one, I dyed it and I used a green. I think I used the remainder of another dye job that I did using Wilton food coloring, Wilton cake icing food coloring. And so I had a little bit of this green left, so I put the ball in there and it soaked it all up. And then it dried over the course of like 3 or 4 days. And then I saw this video that someone else had shown on how to reball it up so that the outer part that was dyed is now on the inside. And I chose a different color dye to dye the outer part. And I believe that dye color was either royal blue or delphinium blue, which is a color that breaks. So the outer part is this really pretty purpley blue, and then it fades, and I didn't get to very much of the green at all. I don't know if you can see a little bit of the green in the final row, but that's how it faded. So I will probably be doing more of that, even though it's a little bit of a pain, because you have to let it dry as much as possible. And then what I did was put it on my Swift so that I can then ball it up. And trying to put yarn on a Swift that's damp, that was really difficult. But it's in a ball, so how else do you dry the whole thing? That's why I said it took me like 3 days. I even had it outside for a little while. But the inner part was still a little bit damp, so it was a little challenging to hang that up so that I could reball it. Anyway, that was my first one, and I think it turned out really pretty. This is kind of a toothy wool. I think this was fisherman's wool. It was in a, let's see, was it in a cake first? It might have been in a cake first, and then I balled it up. I don't remember. No, it was in a ball. Anyway, it had no label, so I think it might have been fisherman's wool. I think. So that was my first one. And then I don't know what order I went in from there. I may have done this one next. And my sister has claimed this one. And this was, I think I did this with 2 yarns, 2 different yarns held double. Yeah, it was. So, I don't remember what the really colorful one was, but one of them was a cotton cake, 100% cotton that I got from Hobby Lobby. And it's a very pale blue, but up against this colorful yarn, it looks white because it's a very, very pale blue. So I held those 2 together and did that bucket hat. I think that turned out cute. And then this one was turned out really cool. This one was made, and I wished I'd had more of this white. But the white was a bamboo that I got from a thrift store a while back, and I held it double with and I should have brought it in here because it's a really cool yarn. I got it from Pleta, and it's a very colorful. I don't know if you can really see. There's green and there's pink and orange and yellow in this yarn, and it's 100% viscose from Pleta, and it's very fine. It's probably a fingering weight yarn. It's very, very slick, and it kind of has a mind of its own. So it would be quite difficult to crochet with it by itself, um, because it's almost wiry. So held double with that, it turned out really good. But I was running out of the white, so I had a yellow in the same bamboo yarn. So I held that same viscose yarn with the yellow and did that until I knew I'd have enough to do the final few rows, which I didn't. I ran out of the white, so I switched it to just a white cotton. And if you look real close, you can tell because the white cotton doesn't shine. It has no shimmer to it like the bamboo did, but it would take a very discerning eye to detect that. So that was another one. And then here's that pale blue that I mentioned. So this is all sugar wheel cotton from Hobby Lobby. I'm not a big fan of working with cotton, but if I can make a bucket hat in like 2.5 hours, awesome. And then here's another one that I did, and this was, what yarn did I use? Oh, this was the white cotton held with another yarn that I got from a thrift store, and I believe it's a cotton and rayon blend with pink and brown and green, and it pooled actually kind of neat in a spiral. I think that turned out really neat, and I may have that one sold. I'm not sure. I've not heard back from the guy. This one is, I can show you in the hank what it is. This is from Santa Fe Yarns, and this I got quite a while back at Bargain Zone, which is kind of like a overstock resell store. And there for a while they had some really nice yarns. I've talked about that store before where I got a lot of really nice yarns, including Malabrigo, at a fraction of the cost of retail. Anyway, here's the yarn, and it's 100% cotton. Yeah, it just says cotton. Doesn't say if it's Pima or anything, but it's really soft. This is not kitchen cotton. So I made another bucket hat with that. So I may do some more because I've got 2 more hanks of this. I could do a bag. Maybe I'll do a matching bag. I don't know. But that's another one. I guess that's my last one. That's the last one that I made with that. So that was my bucket hat extravaganza. And those I can whip up in like 2.5 hours. I started, which one did I start? I think I started this one at our last crochet group. And I think I was 2 rows shy of finishing when the 2-hour group was over. So it works up really fast. I will try to put the link to Jada's tutorial below so that you too can make your own granny stitch bucket hat. It's so easy. As far as customizable, I guess if you're really good at crocheting, you can probably customize it to make it bigger, smaller, whatever. But in her tutorial, she tells you where you can where you can stop to make a child size or youth size version of that. So that's easy. So then I got to thinking, because that pattern is so easy, I got to thinking, what other yarn do I have that I could make another bucket hat? So I have this, here's one right here. It's called, it's from, I got this off of, where did I get this? Hirschner's, maybe, quite some time ago. But this is from Fibra Natura, and it's called Unity Beyond, from Fibra Natura. And this is 36% wool, 28% cotton, 18% linen, 18% bamboo. And it is, even though it's kind of plied, it does go from thick to thin. Has really no stretch to it. So it's very much like cotton. It's got 28% cotton in it. So I thought, I'm going to try that and make a bucket hat. I started out trying to make one holding this yarn triple, even though this is a 3-weight. In the thin spots, it's really thin. So I was going to hold it triple. And I started out making the crown holding it triple. Well, it was just going to be too heavy, too thick and too heavy. So I frogged that back and thought, okay, I'll try it just holding it single and see what happens. And other than possibly being a little too floppy, we'll see how it goes. I think it's coming along pretty nicely. Where'd it go? It's under my chair. So I think if it can be sturdy enough on the brim, I think it's going to be a really cool looking hat. And I'm making this one, I stopped short, I think, of the last row to make it a youth size. So I'm thinking this might be a little bit small. If it's not, that's fine. It'll be for an adult. But it does actually have more stretch than I thought it would. So that'll be a really cool hat. I think, oh, okay. So the next whip, I wanted to make a shawl. And I have several that I want to make. I have several. But I wanted something simple and repetitive and meditative. And I settled on the canoe shawl. And I'll put the link below for that pattern. And I'll give my commentary on that pattern after I'm done talking about the pattern itself. I had started it with another yarn, actually several yarns. I wanted to make it with a bunch of minis because the pattern actually calls for 10 20-gram minis. So I thought, what a great project. And the final picture looked so pretty with the different colors, in the rows. So that's how I originally started it. But it wasn't working right. It wasn't turning out correctly. So I haven't frogged it yet, but I am going to. I have no choice. And decided I would get a cake, because that's what my friend Bernadine is doing. She's making hers with a cake, so no need to change colors. You just use the cake and keep going. Her cake that she's using has a whole bunch of color changes. This one is a yarn art cake that's just brown into white into green. And I think this will be really pretty. My thought is this is a shawl, but because it's so long, I may make it a table runner, because I have somebody that's asked me to make a table runner, and she's got a really long table, and I think this would fit the bill for her table runner. Because the chain is like 182 chains long, and then you're working from the center out, going around and around and around. So by the time I'm done with that cake, it's going to be plenty long. So here's what I have so far. And the pattern calls for all double crochet. Well, if you're familiar with doing double crochets with a bigger hook, this calls for a 5.5 millimeter hook and fingering weight yarn. So those double crochets are going to be quite open and airy. And I thought, I'm going to do something different. So I opted for doing linked double crochets to make it more solid. The 2 center rows are plain double crochets, so you can see how open that is. And then I'm doing the linked, that's the wrong side. So I'm doing the linked double crochets. So it's taking me a little bit longer. Bernadine has gotten quite a bit more done with hers. I don't like this part where it changed. I don't like that. But hopefully in the whole scheme of things, you won't notice it. So that's all I've gotten done so far. And yeah, the link doubles take a little longer, but that's okay. I'll be going back to market, I think, next Saturday. So maybe if I work on it every day this week, I can finish it in time for market and give this to her, the gal that wants me to do the table runner. Give this to her next Saturday. Hopefully I can finish it by then. So that's that. And then as far as finished objects, well, I showed you the hats. I probably should have talked about what I'm wearing. I finally finished this. And I haven't sewn the ends, the beginning and the ending tail. I haven't sewn those in, but all the other ends I sewed in already. This is the Floof Moof, which I've talked about before. And as I was finishing it, I'm looking back at the pattern, and I realized that probably the last half I was doing wrong. I thought that it was just 2 rows alternating back and forth. It wasn't. It was 4 rows alternating. So 4-row repeat. So I'm looking at the pattern thinking, what did I do? I can't see that it's any different. I mean, it's your standard ripple design. But I noticed that some rows started with a chain 5 and some started with a chain 1. I was doing chain 4s and chain 3s. I was doing chain 3s and chain 4s. I don't know. So I'm going through my patterns that I downloaded on my phone, thinking maybe this isn't the Floof Moof. What else could it be? But I think that's what it is. But it looks fine. I mean, I think that's the end. This is the beginning. I don't know how I don't know. I don't know where I messed up, or even if I messed up, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful, I think. And I made this with Gazelle Unicorn So I have to thank Gail for inspiring me to use my Gazelle unicorn. So I really like it, and I still have to block it. It's going to be considerably wider once I block it, but it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I love the colors. This is Tango Red, and I can't remember the name of this, but I thought this was more of an orangey red, and purple and orange go good together. Purple and red go good together. So I think that's a nice combination. I think it turned out really nice. And with just doing the 2 rows back and forth, it went really fast. Easy to memorize, just those 2 rows. So I don't know where I went wrong. Maybe this isn't the floof move. I don't know. I've got another ripple shawl that I've started. Maybe that one is the floof move. I don't know. I'm going to have to see if I have another ripple shawl that I may have made this into. I don't know. But it's finished. That's really all I care about. It's finished. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is what happened yesterday. I had my first knitting class. Well, the first of one. My very first legitimate knitting class that I paid for. And it was at a local yarn store in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. It's called Knit You Together. The owner's name is Shauna. And I just decided when I saw that she was planning a class for level 1 knitting, I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead because I've been telling everybody that I'm going to sign up for a knitting class. So I decided to go ahead and pay for the class, and it was yesterday. I paid for the class, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the store opens at 10:30, but the class started at 10. So I was really confused by that. So I showed up. I was probably, I don't know, 4 minutes late, and I go to the door and the lights are off. I can see Shauna inside, and I go to pull the door. It's locked. And I'm looking in. I don't want to be intrusive. I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't the day. Maybe I got the time wrong. I don't know, even though I double checked all that before I went. So she saw me peeking in the window. She turned the lights on. She came to the door finally after I stood out there for, I don't know, several minutes. And I said, so stupid of me. I said something about, you don't open till 10:30, but the class is at 10? She said, what class? I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, the knitting class. She said, did you sign up? Did you register? I said, yeah. So she's looking in her phone. I said, I registered about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Oh, I must have forgot to put it on my calendar. So it was fine. It was fine. So she let me in, and she had on the shelf these little bags. Learn to knit or learn to crochet. And you could just pick whichever one you want. So she told me, pick a kit. And, you know, this one had purple yarn in it. If I can get it out. Purple yarn. The other option, I think, was either pink or blue. So I picked the purple. And you guys, I was so excited when I saw the needles that she included with this kit. Oh my goodness. I have heard a lot about ChiaoGoo needles. They are one of the best. And when I saw the lace, I thought, oh, I'm surprised she would pick what what I assumed was an advanced needle, not for beginners. So I was a little intimidated when I discovered that it was these needles. 6 millimeter with a 24-inch cable. But I thought, she knows best. I'm not going to doubt her. So we sat down and we cast on. And it's probably been, I don't know, at least 6 months. At least 6 months. Probably closer to a year since I've attempted any kind of work with my knitting at all. And the only reason I stopped was because if I were to make a mistake, my only choice was to rip everything out because I don't know how to fix the mistakes, which is one of the reasons that I decided to sign up for a knitting class. I need to know how to fix mistakes. And I told her that. So she said, oh, I'm sure we'll cover that. We didn't. So I left there really with no more knowledge or skill than I went in there with. Even though it had been a while since I cast it on, it didn't take very much for me to remember how to do it. So I cast it on, and then she just reminded me, what the knit stitch looked like and which direction to wrap the yarn, which was always a confusing part for me, wrapping clockwise or counterclockwise. So now I think it's cemented in my brain to wrap counterclockwise with both knit and purl. So once she saw that I was on my way, she said, okay, go ahead and just keep doing rows of knit. Just keep doing it. And for like the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 rows, I was counting every stitch. There was one time that I was short one, I think. So she fixed the mistake. And I tried to watch what she was doing, but she was doing it in such a fashion that I couldn't really follow it. So that's why I said still don't know how to fix mistakes. So I'm trying to be very intentional with every stitch I make. Very intentional. Because if I make a mistake, my only choice is to rip it back. I don't even know how to tink. I don't know. So let me show you what I've got so far. And these needles are amazing. They're not too slick like I thought they'd be. They're lightweight and they're just lovely. They're lovely. So here's what I have so far. And we're making a fingerless glove. And there's some sort of hiccup here. I can tell just by feeling it, but I'm just going to leave it. I knitted, I don't know how many rows. I don't know how to count rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5. And I decided to purl. And she told me I could. So she said, you can purl 5 and then knit another 5 if you want. And it'll just add a little bit of dimension to the finished product. No big deal. And so I finished the 5 purl, and now I'm knitting again, and I think I'll just finish till I'm done knitting. But this is supposed to be a square, so the same inches high as it is wide. So I'll just keep going till I have a square, and then learn how to bind off, and Yeah, I was reading the pattern yesterday, trying to figure out how they're incorporating the thumb hole, and unless I missed something, I'm not seeing how they're incorporating the thumb hole other than when you stitch it together, maybe you just skip so many rows and then rejoin. I don't know. I didn't see in the pattern where it said that. So we'll see. I've still got a long ways to go. I got quite a ways to go. But I will say that before, when I started, I would have to force my stitches along this needle. They were super tight. And now they glide on the needle. So my tension has gotten so much better. So much better. Yeah, I don't this last row might be a little bit tight, but yeah, my tension has gotten better. So there's that. So that's been kind of fun. We'll see where that leads me. I still need to know how to fix mistakes. And if I come to a part where I notice a mistake and I don't want to rip it, all I got to do, she has three days or evenings every week where she has community events, bring your own craft. But she's there all the time. So if I come across a problem, I mean, yeah, it's 23 miles away, but if I have a problem, I can always go over there and get her help. Because I need to know how to fix mistakes. That's really important. Because I know there will be mistakes. So that was my knitting adventure yesterday. And I've done a little bit on it today. Yeah, so that's probably why that last row was kind of tight, because I wasn't as relaxed as I was yesterday. So that leads me to the very last thing, which was a happy mail that I received yesterday. And this was a happy mail that it was a winning that I had from Hookin' and Stitchin' Island Style, from Antionette at Hookin' and Stitchin' Island Style. Frankly, I had forgotten all about it. Oh, I had forgotten all about the win. And I went out to check my mail, and there at the bottom of my door on my porch was a bag, and I could tell there was like a customs label on it or whatever, because it comes from Canada. She's in Canada. So it had a different kind of label on it, and I thought, is that part of my Temu order that I just placed like 2 days ago? No. So I looked at the return address and saw that it was from her. I'm like, what is that? It didn't even dawn on me then. I did not remember, which I feel terrible that I don't remember, because it was like the second time I've ever won a giveaway, or as she calls gift away. It was like the second time that I won, and I forgot. That's not like me at all. So I opened up the package, and lo and behold, here's this beautiful cake of yarn. And then I remembered the day that I won it. And yeah, this is so pretty. Here we are. So it's a lot like the Sultan cakes from Hobie, but I don't think it's cotton. I asked Antionette today in her live, but I guess she didn't see my question. I don't think it's cotton. If it is, it's mercerized cotton, because this has a sheen to it. I don't know if you can really tell. Maybe there you can. It has a sheen, and it's loosely plied, which doesn't bother me. But I have to wonder, because this came from Temu, I have to wonder if this is acrylic. I don't know. I've never encountered fine acrylic yarn, so I don't know what it feels like. But the way this is applied, I may have to do a burn test and just see what it does. Whenever I have a doubt, I do a burn test and see what it does. But the sheen on this makes me think it's either mercerized cotton, or because it's so soft, it might be polyester. I don't know. But if this leaves behind a hard bead, it's not cotton. So I may do another video after I'm done with this and attach it on the end with my findings of the burn test. But this is beautiful. This will make a beautiful shawl. I'm not a huge fan of blue, but that sky blue in the middle is just beautiful. It's beautiful. So this will be fun to make a shawl with. This will be really fun. So that is what I have for you guys today. I don't think there's any more to share. Let's see. Is there anything else to share? I can't think of anything. I have some things coming up, but not till June. I have our sister's Des Moines trip the first week of June, and then I no more get back from that. Then I go dog sitting for a week. And then my birthday is the end of June. Let's see. I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else that's going on. Nope. So I guess I will put an end to this video and let you guys get about your day. And I want to thank you again for joining me. And I hope you have a great Easter Resurrection Day. And I hope you have a lot of family around you. Speaking of family, I haven't been to see my new granddaughter yet. I feel terrible. It's just really hard for me to leave the house and go anywhere. And she lives quite a ways away. She's about a 40-minute drive, 30 to 40-minute drive. She lives on the other side of the line in Kansas, but it's like a 40-minute drive. And she has a new puppy. So she has 2 new babies in her house. So I just need to make it a point to go. And today was Sunday. I should have gone Friday, maybe. I don't know. I need to get over there and see them all. I just do. Okay. That is the end. Thank you again for sticking around. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't joined my Fancy Fiber family, I hope that you will. I have a Temu order coming probably, I don't know, maybe by the end of this coming week. I will have that. And there is a little bit of yarn in there. So, yeah, I guess I will probably do another video then towards the end of the week when that comes. All right. You guys take care. Have a good rest of your day. And we'll see you again very soon. Remember, God loves you. Jesus loves you. I love you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye. I forgot to record my commentary on that shawl. I left out the part where I decided to start that canoe shawl with another yarn. That's because the pattern is not written very well. The pattern does not explain where to put increases past the very first round. So I decided to, instead of repeating that first round each round, I decided to put the increases using 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet at each end. And that seems to be working out correctly. And Bernadine decided to do the same thing because the pattern just really, the pattern left out a lot of needed information. I have since reached out to the designer to get clarification on the pattern and where to put the increases. But she's on vacation until the 21st. So in lieu of waiting to hear back from her, I decided to just figure it out myself. So that's what I did. And it should be working out fine. Okay, back to the video. Here is the result of the burn test. And pardon my shaking. It appears that it's cotton and it leaves behind this yellowy residue. It has a weird smell. But there's no hard bits there, so there's no synthetic fibers. So it must be cotton. There you go. Love it.